What if electricity vanished tomorrow? In a single day, hospitals, cities, and communication would collapse. Humanity would be thrown back into the dark ages almost overnight. At first, it sounds like the plot of a science fiction movie. But let's imagine waking up to a world where every electron simply refuses to flow. You roll out of bed, reach for the light switch, and nothing happens. No glow, no hum, no faint click of life. The silence is thick, unnatural. Your phone is a dead brick. The Wi-Fi router is a plastic box with no purpose, and the fridge is now just a hollow cabinet of rapidly warming food. The modern world, so completely wrapped around invisible streams of electricity, suddenly collapses into stillness. In the first hours, confusion reigns. People try to restart their devices, bang on their remotes, and call their friends, but there is no signal, no screen lighting up, no networks buzzing to life. Elevators are frozen between floors. Traffic lights are nothing but dark boxes, and cars with electric starters won't even ignite. Streets are jammed with vehicles abandoned mid-commute. Airplanes never left the runway that morning, while those already in the sky are forced to glide toward emergency landings, stripped of their electrical systems. The chaos is immediate and terrifying. By the first day's end, our dependence on electricity becomes painfully clear. Hospitals filled with patients hooked to machines are suddenly on the edge of catastrophe. Surgeons are left without lights, ventilators fail, and heart monitors turn blank. Doctors scramble to improvise, but without electricity, even the simplest tools of modern medicine vanish. Supermarkets are darkened caves where cash registers don't work, and food spoils in their powerless refrigerators. Factories halt mid-production, their machines frozen in silence. Water treatment plants stop pumping. Without the flow of electrons, civilization takes its first step back toward the Middle Ages. As night falls, the absence of light becomes almost unbearable. Cities that once glowed from space are now black scars across the earth. The stars return in dazzling numbers, but few are calm enough to appreciate the view. Streets that once felt safe under buzzing lamps are now wrapped in shadows. The world is quieter, yes, but it is also more dangerous. People light candles, build small fires, and fumble with forgotten oil lamps. The rhythm of human life instantly shrinks to match the rise and fall of the sun, because when darkness comes, nothing can push it back. By the second day, desperation sets in. Refrigerators and freezers are pools of spoiled meat and melted ice cream. People rush to cook what they can over open flames, sharing food with neighbors before it rots completely. But soon, the bigger problem emerges: water. Without electricity, pumps cannot move fresh water through pipes. Cities begin to run dry, toilets stop flushing, and taps sputter with nothing left to give. Hygiene collapses quickly, disease lurks in the shadows, and panic grows. Civilization was always just 3 days away from chaos, and without electricity, we are running straight toward it. By the first week, transportation grinds to a halt. Gasoline stations cannot pump fuel. Electric trains, subways, and trams are nothing but lifeless shells of metal. Planes remain grounded. Ships wander aimlessly without navigation systems, and cars that once relied on computers for every function become useless husks. Only old mechanical vehicles, those antiques that once seemed obsolete, roar back to life, carrying a lucky few across empty highways. Horses, bicycles, and bare feet become the new engines of the world. And then comes communication, or rather, the total absence of it. No radio, no television, no internet, no satellites. Governments lose their voices, news agencies vanish overnight, and people are cut off from each other in a way not seen for centuries. Rumors replace facts, fear replaces truth. Communities shrink into small islands of human contact, because without electricity, information cannot travel faster than a person on foot. As days stretch into weeks, humanity faces a choice: either adapt to a world without electricity or collapse under the weight of our own dependency. Farms try to operate without electric irrigation, but yields plummet. Medicine turns back to hand tools, herbs, and daylight surgeries. Science is paralyzed. Space exploration dies instantly. The grand networks of global trade unravel, and the world shrinks into local survival. The very fabric of modern civilization is revealed to be as fragile as a thin wire carrying current. But in this darkness, there are also unexpected glimpses of resilience. Families gather around fires and candles, rediscovering stories told by voice rather than screen. Neighbors trade food, water, and skills. Musicians pick up acoustic instruments. Children play outside because screens are gone. The night sky becomes a dazzling show of stars, planets, and galaxies, as if the universe itself has returned to remind humanity that it was always bigger than the glowing rectangles in our hands. In some strange way, life slows down, forcing people to live in rhythm with nature again. And yet, the cost is unimaginable. Billions would suffer, millions would die, and the comfort we take for granted every day would vanish with the flick of a switch that no longer works. A world without electricity is not just inconvenient. It is a step back through centuries, stripping away nearly every invention of the last 200 years. Our homes, our food, our water, our medicine, our very way of life is bound to those tiny streams of moving electrons. Without them, civilization itself flickers out like a dying light bulb. So what if electricity vanished tomorrow? The truth is, we wouldn't just lose power. We'd lose the world as we know it.